So President Trump praises Cleveland Browns Shedeur Sanders.
For Sanders getting picked, and does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, all I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves on that one, Peter.
Defended that man before Cleveland Browns ever did. Shameful.
4-10 win after criticizing NFL teams during the draft for not picking up Deion's son. He said, quote, Shedeur Sanders was great. Wins first game, career start as a pro for Cleveland. Great genes.
Open the door for Shedeur. Trump is showing a little bit of support.
That owner, they don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know it. They're friends of mine. They don't know it. They don't know it. And that owner, they don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know it. They'll be the most.
Such a great quarterback. I know Deion Sanders very well. He was a great athlete in college, and he was even better in the NFL. Okay? So
just some, I focus on each and every day on what I got to do. And just because where I am on the depth chart, don't let that dictate, my mindset each and every day, because you don't know what happened or what could happen. So
guys in the A gap.
They're down at 8. Here comes the pressure. Running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man.
So that's the mentality I went with going and prepping for this week. We know they got a dog on the D lineman. We know about Max Crosby. We know about that. But, I fear no man. The only thing I fear is God.
For Sanders,
Only thing he fears is God. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and smash that like button. Hit that notification bell. I am DJ Blessone, the best one. We're going to talk about this. Let's play the new theme song. Let go.
Like a king, never back, and he legendary. Legendary. Shedeur Sanders came from the bottom, now he lighting up the scandals. Prime time raised him, gave the boy swagger. Now he run the league, NFL's new master. Legendary. Legendary. He the chosen. Before he so spirit in his soul, he golden. Face of the league, all the fans stay frozen. Shedeur Sanders, yeah, the prophecy open. Coach like a king, never back, and he legendary. Legendary.
Legendary indeed. So YouTube family, if you guys don't know, let's talk about this moment that's got sports fans and political junkies buzzing. President Donald Trump publicly praising Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And listen, no matter how you feel politically, this crossover between football power and personalities is wild and worth breaking down. I know some of you guys are going to be like, Blez, you're talking about Trump. We got to disassociate from you, bro. Calm down. There are millions of YouTube platforms and Instagram and Facebook. All they do every day is talk about the blue and the red. No difference from the streets with the blue and the red. I'm not doing that here today. My goal is to talk about what we're witnessing here in the football of things. And I understand there are greater things that's bigger than what round Shedeur got drafted in sports. But this isn't this politically based platform. So if people want to get mad, there are enough content creators who would be willing to hear your take on why you love Donald Trump and on why you hate Donald Trump. I'm not that guy. I'm an American patriot, and I just want to share my opinion about this. Now, let's break it down even more. Now, first, people forget this. Trump has a long, messy, dramatic history with the NFL owners for decades. He wasn't just a casual fan. He was hanging around the billionaires who run the league. He wanted in their good old boys club. He did business with them. He tried buying NFL teams. He tried competing with the NFL when he backed the old USFL. Some of you guys may be too young to know, but if you know, you know. Football wasn't a hobby for him. It was an obsession. Now, let's go to what Donald Trump actually showed and what he actually said about Shedeur Sanders, because we know this isn't the first time he has shared his light on the Sanders family. In my lifetime from the 90s, all the way to the early 2000s, I have always seen this man actually talk about Deion Sanders and the Sanders family in a good light. He never slighted them like that. And remember, you guys going deep into it, but let's go a little bit more. So Trump, he decided to congratulate Shedeur Sanders on that amazing performance versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Cleveland Browns haven't looked like that in a while. I think we all can contest to it. It was great to see Shedeur. Forget about whether it was great to see him be great, but it was great to see his energy enrich a city that's desperately needed it. That's one of the cornerstones of America, which is Ohio. If a lot of you guys didn't know that, the blue collar working individual, man and woman, is Ohio. And when I see people taking advantage of the communities over there, such as the likes of Jimmy Haslam, I'm all for President Trump to expose these NFL owners, even if it is because he's angry at them. Hey, I'm willing to take that. Now, I'm not someone who goes out and about to make people feel good as if I'm a stepping fetching. So at the end of the day, Trump had his point in to make that. So now let's read what he actually wrote. Now, if you guys can look at it, the praise went deeper than what some were trying to say. It was respect, but it was also slights aimed towards the NFL owner. He said Shedeur Sanders was great, wins first game, career start as a pro for Cleveland, great genes, I told you so. Now, he referenced genetic before, during the draft when they didn't want to draft Shedeur. He's like, he comes from a great genetics and all that, and people were offended by that. Now, I understand why people was offended, but I also understand why people weren't offended. You know what? I feel like me and my genetics is very strong. Like, why wouldn't I? Hell, I'm a United States of American patriot, and I can talk about things being that I'm a strong veteran and being melanated. We're the cornerstone and backbone of society, and we're true patriots who serve. Therefore, this is why I'm telling you guys, I don't want to know if you hate the president or love the president. I mean, you can share it with me, but don't make me enemy number one, because I see myself as a true patriot, and I'm over here to tell the president, thank you for doing what a lot of these other scrubs in the Cleveland organization, NFL organization, the Bomani Jones of the world, the Chris Carters, Fatlock, Whitlock, you get the gist of what I'm saying. So the relationship of Donald Trump and the NFL owners, it blew up around 2017. That's when things flipped and political disagreements and public shots were fired. A lot of the behind the scene tensions became very public. Some of the tensions like this when Trump actually was exposing the league, although he was somewhat throwing slights at Kaepernick, thinking that Kaepernick was throwing slights at the American flag, which I disagreed with President Trump on that, but I'm all for him getting mad enough to expose the inner dealings with the NFL.
Arena tonight are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. One of these NFL, wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now? You know,
I mean, I stand my marriage. You can use anybody as a tool to help you out, despite who they are. Because since then, Trump has positioned himself as a guy who's exposing the NFL from inside out. He calls out the owners on several occasions, if you guys been paying attention, even if it's because of his own needs or whatever. I'll take that. Like, he literally let you guys know he's friends with the owners for a reason. That isn't him trying to get cookies and cool points. Wow, I'm friends with the owners. Listen to when he said this.
I don't know. They don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know it. They're friends of mine. They don't know it. They don't know it. And that owner, they don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know it. They'll be the most. That owner. They don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine.
You hear that? When he's telling you they're friends of mine, if you're from the urban community like me, or just even if you're not an urban person, any backgrounds of certain low-level atmosphere of financial stability, things like that, you understand when somebody say they're friends of mine. It's like him saying, bro, I know that dude over there, bro. I know him. Trust me. Like, meaning that, bro, I know the scandals that go on. And this is why I like guys like Godfrey. When Godfrey did his jokes about it, he actually broke it in his own laughable ways to make you understand that, like, we get it. We get it. It's Trump, but we also get the support part.
Deion Sanders. You got to understand something about Deion Sanders. He played two sports. He played football and he played baseball. He played both of those sports in the same day. The guy's great. He's been to the World Series and he's been to the Super Bowl. The guy's a champion. So his son, who doesn't play two sports, I possibly can because it's the black genes. I know this name. Isn't that a great name? I don't know where it's from, and maybe it's from someplace very black.
Shout out to Godfrey. Hey, but listen to me. Since then, Trump just been exposing the NFL. He calls out the owners. He calls out the league decisions. He talks like someone who knows where the bodies are buried. Let's just be honest about it, because honestly, he spent enough time around that billionaire circle to hear all the stories. He knew what they were doing to Shedeur. Fast forward to Shedeur. Here's why Trump is basically interested in this. Shedeur represents something Trump has always loved. If we're being honest, big stage players, headline makers, athletes who bring excitement back to the league, and most importantly, people who stand up to the pressure of the establishment. Whether you like this president or not, these are the things he's fond of. Let's just be honest, bro. Whether it's rappers for the last 4 decades of him, or maybe even 5 decades of him being influential with celebrities, especially from the urban community. We're not going in deep whether he loves them or not. That's what you guys are invested into. This is a platform that likes breaking down the stories that a lot of you guys and your favorite content creators, they shy and run away from. But I'm a grown man, and listen to me. Trump, he sees the storyline around Shedeur, the critics, the chaos, the media narratives, because the same thing is done to him, whether it's truthfully or not, but it's the same thing. So he leans into it. From his perspective, this is classic outsiders versus insiders energy. Shedeur is the new face of the NFL, but he didn't come in through the approved pipeline that certain owners love. You got to remember, man, Trump has always been fascinated with these athletes. So I want to see the perspective from the TMZ side.
It's officially safe to say we know which NFL game had the attention of President Trump after he took to Truth Social to praise Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Trump made sure to remind people that he was not surprised that Sanders led the Browns to a 24-10 win after criticizing NFL teams during the draft for not.
All right, no disrespect to TMZ, salute, but I think we can cover it much, much better. Much love to TMZ. So when Trump comes out and he says the things that he says, you have to understand he's always been fascinated with athletes who build their own brand, their own influence, like men of power. Power respects power, and power begets more power. So you got to understand their own influence, like a Shedeur legendary brand. That's what he likes. And he likes the way Shedeur doesn't bow down to traditional gatekeepers. Well, who I'm talking about were certain people who look like me and act like me. They act very different because they can be on a facade and cosplay as something else.
You can even wear his suits, but you ain't never gonna be nothing to him. But
you know what I'm saying? In a nutshell, he don't like stepping fetchings too much. I know it looks like it, but notice how he always makes them look dumb at the end. They did all that stepping and fetching, and that's not nobody's cup of tea. I don't care what your ethnicity is. Nobody truly loves a step and fetching Uncle Fester, you know what, Uncle Tom Brady. Let's say it like that. Uncle Tom Brady. You know what I mean? So he's always been fascinated like that. So when he praises Shedeur, it's less about politics and more about the power dynamics. He likes stars who break the mold. And here's the real conversation online. People are saying Trump believes the NFL colluded against Shedeur during the draft, and that the league didn't want him becoming the next face of American sports because it disrupts the old system that Trump has never benefited from. He always benefited from people breaking open the doors. So yes, he takes advantage of it, but we are in a capitalist society. Not saying if I agree or disagree. This is a capitalist society. So when you see a Donald Trump, he comes out and about and he gives you guys a certain message. Let me see if I could find that story when Donald Trump did let the world know how he felt. I think I have it. Here we go, guys.
After the President's Truth Social post, the Browns finally took Shedeur Sanders. Does the President think he deserves credit for Sanders getting picked? And does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, all I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves on that one, Peter.
You guys are probably going to get mad at Donald Trump and be like, man, he's taking credit and blah, blah, blah. Listen, guys, me and you are not in this good old boys fraternity circle. That man just exposed the league in collusion. I made a phone call and got Shedeur the job. That's live on air. The NFL, if they wanted to, they could have combat that for defamation, a whole lot of things. Hell, even Shedeur himself, even though it helped him, he could have do an inquiry and get his lawyers involved to see if we can subpoena Trump to speak on how he knows about all this. But everybody knows Trump is telling the truth. He did make a phone call. You really think Jimmy Haslam did it? I dropped the news when Jimmy Haslam had to chime in on his own front office because they did not want to draft Shedeur. Remember that? Then Jimmy fell back, like during a lot of the fiasco started transpiring. He went, oh, it was Andrew Berry who got Shedeur. It wasn't me. That's during the fiasco with Shedeur during his one bad preseason game. Everybody wanted to wash their hands. It wasn't me. And of course, Andrew Berry is going to sit there and allow this man to say that because it makes you and helps you look good. But a lot of you people like the other point of views. You like a certain liberal point of view versus a conservative. And I'm not out here to argue who's a conservative or who's a liberal, but a lot of you guys need to know the truth about who you always give a pass to. And it's guys like this. That general, right? I forgot. I think he was a lieutenant. I like his role in that movies precisely because it's like his homeboy was the liberal who think he knows better for us, what we need and what we got to do and all that. And I'm tired of people of all sectors, no matter if it's people who look like me or people who look like Trump. It's like, bro, we are grown-ups. We are not a monolith. And these people who want the best for you, do they truly indeed? Because it sounds like the same group of people from ESPN. Let's get that out. ESPN sounds like the same talking point who don't you want them to be men? They'll create a story and a false narrative, and months later, after they ridicule you, they embarrass you, they'll come back and swoop in and make it look like they're the heroes. They're the ones who used all these salacious news that said there was no collusion. They're the ones who attacked Shedeur relentlessly with falsified stories that have never been verified. And then after Shedeur plays good, I told you what the playbook of ESPN was. They swoop in, and now everybody on that media sector of that failed Disney show known as ESPN are claiming to be Shedeur Sanders supporters. So miss me with a lot of the rhetoric. I definitely know truly indeed. So let's talk about it, because people believe that Trump is letting you know about the collusion. I for sure can see he's telling you that. So now let's be clear. The political commentary, not proven fact, but it is what Trump and many of his supporters have been saying for months. Remember, 6 months ago during the NFL draft frenzy, Trump went on a streak of interviews and social media posts where he hinted that certain teams and owners knew what they were doing, not only for Shedeur during the draft position, but several other strings of things, like when they accused him of being so many other things. And maybe the NFL was right towards accusations towards the president, but was the president lying about accusations about them? That's what I'm paying attention to, because these are the breadcrumbs I need to follow as an investigative journalist. You listen to all parties and all sides. So the president, he didn't call out names, he didn't drop documents, but the message was clear and efficient. He said, I know these people, I've dealt with these people, and I know how they work behind the scenes. What more do you need? What more do you need to know about this collusion? And that's what makes his praise for Shedeur so loud right now, because it echoes something I've been saying for months, because it's not just this kid is talented. It's more like this kid beat the system. He beat the politics. He beat the insiders who didn't want him winning. Let's just be real about it. You feel me? And Trump loves that narrative. Let's just be real, whether right or wrong, he loves that. He loves the, look, I'm one of the brothers. I've been watching it with the Kodak and then just the NBA young boy. The dude, he cares more about popularity and fame versus than what a lot of y'all think about. If we're being for real, power. So I'm gonna save what I was gonna say for a separate video. So let me continue here, because I could go on and on and on. So President Trump, he built his entire public brand on being the guy who supposedly fights against the establishment. This is why he was part of the Democrats and the Republicans. He's just going where he could be favored at and where he could win, because he's a powerful dude. Let's just be honest about that. So when he sees Shedeur thriving, starring in Cleveland, winning games, proving doubters wrong, Trump frames him as basically another outsider becoming a superstar despite the pushback. And let's just be even more honest. Trump has so much investments in Ohio. This only furthers his portfolio. Let's just be real. Whether you agree with Trump or not is not in the question. So whether you love or hate his politics, the impact of his voice on Shedeur's already massive star power is very real. So two powerful men, one Shedeur, one Donald Trump, and you get what you get. This is why, like, the ancestors are not going to make you unsubscribe from me. You know exactly what I'm saying, and you can't fake the gift that I got, the gift that you guys got, which to unify our groups of people. So let me play the Beautiful War song right quick before I continue. Amen, brother. No fear. No fear. That's what that young man, courageous Shedeur Sanders, is helping to remind a lot of people in this world. Have no fear for what they do to you, what they say against you. Have no fear. Those of you that have been led astray will be back on the right track. Don't worry about it. But you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work at the end of the day. Because when he singles someone out, it becomes national conversation. I'm talking about President Trump. No matter if it's good or bad, no matter if you like him or not, when Trump talks about certain things, you guys pay attention. And let's not ignore the Deion Sanders effect. Coach Prime is a magnet for big personalities, celebrities, presidents, billionaires. They all want a piece of Coach Prime, aka Deion Sanders. They want a piece of him. Pause. No Diddy, but yes Diddy. You get the gist. And with Shedeur now carrying that primetime legacy into the NFL, it makes sense that Trump, President Trump, that is, who always wants to protect himself to big cultural moments, as we said earlier in the video, would latch onto the Sanders storyline. We've seen everything he latched onto. Why are you guys surprised he's latching onto this? These are actually a storyline that anybody in the world should latch onto. We all see the prime effect is not just a prime effect. We got the perfect timing effect. And that should see, there was a Coach Prime. He had his time and all that, but Shedeur Sanders is somewhat perfecting that quote unquote prime time. He's perfecting it at a pace where it outseated who his father is. I'm just going to be honest and say it. He's slowly but surely is going to be remembered by far more than Deion Sanders just by going through the trials and tribulations. I'm just being very honest. I know Coach Prime did it at a harder time and all that, but I'm talking about the magnitude in this type of generation where everybody's heal the world, make it a better, all this. Ugh. for Shedeur to still have that type of impact when social media already can make a junkie on 5th Street famous, meaning that Shedeur is becoming super famous at a time where people already could get famous. So you have to have some type of je ne sais quoi about you. People ain't just watching him only for Deion Sanders. Wake up. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just about football. This is about star power, or power in general. It's about influence. This is about who gets to shape the narrative of America's most watched sport. And Shedeur, he's right in the center of it with his play on the field, forcing everybody from sports legends to presidents to talk about him. What more would you guys want? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Blessone, the best one. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed. And never forget, we fight.
Nothing's difficult.
Everything's a challenge.
Through adversity to the stars.
From the last plane to the last bullet to the last minute to the last man, we fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight.
We fight. And on that note, man, love your family, love your kids. Stay blessed.
A king never back, and he legendary.